Well, another weekend, another car show. So Paul Beck runs this show down at the Illawarra, and he's been doing it for such a long time. I was having a chat to him 28 years ago they started doing this, and I said to him, how long, mate? Because I can remember being here in 96, 97 with the Pioneer Coupe, and he goes, yeah, we've missed a couple of years, but 28 years, so good on you, Paul. So straight in the gate, have a look at that, beautiful GTS Monaro. Just a stunning. So this show, Paul's traditionally run it as an invitation show, so he does the rounds of the shows with his photography and the Killer Ride show, and hand picks the cars that he'd have at the show, and then there's always a handful of some of the really nice local Illawarra cars that fill up the gaps if there are any. So this Prem, I checked this out at one of the car meets I was at. It's a local car. Have a look how nice this engine bay is. It's really cleaned up nice. Nothing over the top, just looking really good. Now, of course, we all know this car. This is Marcus's car, so if you like the look of this, you want to see a bit more, there's a separate one we did about 6 months ago on Marcus's car before they went to the Summer Nats. And of course now it's history that they ended up winning People's Choice, him and his dad, at the last Summer Nats. So car looked even better this time around. They've obviously had a few more months to tinker away. Big wheels, big brakes, 1,000 horsepower under the bonnet. Now that's a local car as well, and I don't get out that much, but I know that he does use it a lot, and it's seen out on the streets in Wollongong a lot. So I just thought I'd show you these signs very quickly. I've seen these pop up on Facebook a couple of times. Done in like an acrylic, and they're a really nice looking bit of gear. Nice 4-door. Got a pretty big engine going on there. I'm not sure exactly what that is even. I probably should know, but I don't. So full cage, shifter, lots of gauges and stuff going on, so it obviously gets a bit of treatment. Very clean and tidy VL. Very fitting, I guess, being Wollongong, the VL capital of the world. The big wheels happening again. It's a pretty classic Tirana. Pretty sure this is a local car as well. Interesting to see how the pipes out through the guards there. That was all the go in the 80s. This car looks to be pretty much an original styled car from the 90s, 80s, 90s. Wollongong's got a very strong heritage of street machines for a very long period of time. I've been here about 15 years and it was very strong before that. This is another local car with the old roller with the small block Chevy in it. Nice clean VK. Those big Simmons happening again. This one's nicely trimmed out. You'll see in the boot and all here that the fit and finish is very nice. You see the old tough GMH. Just to be aware, the next big show that I'll be heading to is where Heather and I are going to go down and stay with Adam and Kylie and do the ACT All Holden Day. So they'll be taking Tailspin plus their Brock Commodore out. So we're going to run out there and take the camera and have a bit of a look. So that'll be next month. That blue's such a nice blue, isn't it? So they had a couple of hot rods there. So being a hockey arena, Paul's a bit restricted by the number of cars, so he's quite selective in what he chooses. And over the years, you know, Paul's renowned as a pro street guy, but obviously with cars like this, make up the balance. Another one of those cars with all that crazy paintwork, and I'd really like to have a go at that one day. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I really appreciate the amount of time and effort put in. And then you can see here on the wheels, but also on all the bars and all of that engraving. A huge amount of time and effort to go in to do that. Now here's Phil Kerjean's wagon. Now Phil built this bike probably 18 months, 2 years ago now, during the old COVID. And Phil's dad had a push bike shop, so Phil's got a bit of a background with the old pushies, and you can see there he's actually put a single swing arm on it on the rear, or the actual rear frame on just a single bar. And then those wheels are actually off a top fuel drag car. And then he's made up his own mechanisms and all for the pedals and the gear drive. He put a lot of work into that if you don't know much about it, you probably wouldn't know. And then, of course, the wagon had a remake for the last Summer Nats, and you can see those new 20-inch wheels that he had made up. And young Jakey Myers now is doing wraps out there in Unanderra, and the car's been wrapped in silver now, so all that graphic works and all still underneath, and it's a full wrap. A lot of people don't get to see the inside. There's a lot going on in this car, I can tell you. Big stereos and suicide doors, all sorts of things. So 20 years he's been at it, and he's had that wagon that long and longer. Used to be his daily, and it's just progressed and progressed. keeps the thing absolutely immaculate, but only because he spends a massive amount of time to be able to achieve that. Now this is a car that Phil has done a lot of work on as well. It's a customer car. It came to him reasonably well completed, but still needed a lot done to it. And Phil finished it off and obviously did all the fuel lines and got all of the stuff in the engine bay sorted to make it run. And that's now been going for a while and was at the Summer Nats. Very tasteful all under the bonnet. I thought I'd better take a picture of I never remember what it's called, so it's a Mercury Comet, a 71 Mercury Comet. So even though I'm a Ford guy, I never remember which one it was. Now this is another little local car that I'm pretty sure was over Phil's when I was over there one day, that he was doing a bit of tidying up on this. So there's quite a lot of these cars that were engineered back in the 80s with small blocks and tubs and stuff that have still got rego on them and are legitimate New South Wales registered cars, even though you look at them and say it can't be possible. But these things were passed and had engineers' reports in the 80s and 90s, and they're still current and can still be registered. It's like the original Pro Street. And of course that's all now evolved to, we're seeing cars being built like this that are just full out race cars or burnout cars that have that same fit and finish of a top end car. Amazing amount of work. Check out the steering wheel on that. It's all steel. I don't know whether it's a handmade one or you can buy them like that, but I haven't seen one before with a bit of pipe with the drilled holes. And all that detail on the pipe work and chute levers and bigs and littles. The upgraded brakes, and then of course a massive engine. I like the way on this engine everything seemed to have its place and looked symmetrical and just had a nice flow about it. And if you're looking and thinking there's not many people here, that's because I was in right on opening at 9 o'clock to make sure I could get my photos done before too many people turned up, but crowd was building just as I was getting to the end of it. Now this one was up at the Hot Rod Show in Sydney and had a huge amount of work done to it. I don't quite comprehend where to start on it, but there's more footage of it in one of our other programs from the Hot Rod Show, from the Sydney Hot Rod Show. Now this was a really nice clean looking car. Good colour combo. Sitting down nice and low, and it just had a really nice feel about it. Very classy. It's very unusual grille treatment with the interior colour, and then they've taken that into the engine bay as well. Bit of a plug for my supporters, Vibrance and PPG. There's that colour use there. Just something different. Camera's struggling a bit with the focus, sorry about that guys. That's a nice car. There's a few pushies there, and it blows me away, all these people that are collecting all these push bikes, but we've all got to collect something I guess, and we all had those and people now want to have them back, and there's a whole new market going on with the old push bikes. Now this one here I seen the first time up at the Hot Rod Show as well, and it looked really good under this light. I mean the lighting in this hockey centre was a whole lot different to say the Hot Rod Show, and there's a few things I spotted on this I didn't see up there, like the rear on the boot lid. You'll see here in a minute the rear wing is all made out of steel and it's all moulded with the wing on the boot lid. Very good use of colour. You see there that's all moulded in. It's a lot of effort and a lot of patience and a lot of good skills to be able to do that, I can tell you. Very classic styling looking there, I like that. So I see on the number plates a HK, I wouldn't really know what it was. Those HKs, HT, HGs, I'm never quite sure which is which, but that classic bigs and littles going on again. Don't mind the black bumpers and door handles and taillights all, looks pretty good. See tucked in the corner there is the electric power steering. Everything nicely in its place. It's the sort of right colour for that age of car, I reckon. That looks pretty good in the cream. Bit of billet going on there. Set of 15s really suits the style of the car, and then you come around the front and of course it's got nice little V8 in there as well. Nicely done. Now if you want big, here's big. I don't know exactly how many cubes Simon Krieger's out to now, but I know it's getting close to 700. This thing made a huge amount of horsepower on the dyno, and of course now at the moment they're all tied up in Gup's new event now with the list racing. All part of that Power Cruise thing, but obviously a full-on drag car, making huge horsepower with those big throttle bodies and lots of nitrous. So Simon's had an association with Paul Beck for a long time. I can remember back in the Extreme magazine days where Paul used to sponsor the fuel to Simon when he was racing the old Black Tirana. So it's been going on for a long, long time, these guys in the Illawarra, and they're big into their cars and big into drag racing. It's a nice classic Chevy. That's a nice colour for that car. That's a timeless colour. I mean, that car will look good in that colour forever. I think sometimes you got to be a little bit careful. You pick, the current trendy colour of the day, and 5-10 years later, it's one of those things where people go, oh, I remember that colour that was on, whatever car, or that particular year and dates. But a colour like this is just always going to look good and always be in trend. Beautiful car. Now, I'm not sure what I can say about this one. To go from that classic colour to something right out there like this one. Now, I raved on about this car from the Hot Rod Show. This is a stunning car. It was at Motorex as well. Still in the rounds. I know it'll never get old. Beautiful red trim. And a nice late model engine dropped in there as well. The finish on this thing was over the top, really. Awesome car. And this was an unveil car from the Hot Rod Show. So Chubby Lowe's had some fair bit of involvement in this one. I'm not 100% sure on the whole process with the car, but it's got everything. Full custom interior, the big wheels, big brakes. And then of course the injected engine. I really like that style of hat on the injected cars rather than the big step up ones. I'm a fan of that style. Looks really good. The colour on this pops a bit more than what it's showing in the video there. It's got a little bit more, I don't know, lift in real life than what we're looking at the moment. Now, I really aspire to the people that can put these things together, because the creativity to drag together all the bits and pieces they use to make these things look like they do, the rat rods, the fuel tank sitting in there and the levers, and yeah, it sort of blows me away how they can come up with what they use and where they use it and still look really cool. I notice the engine plate's bolted to the guard, so I presume it's holding the guard on rather than the other way around. So Gus Boy, he's another local that I've known here for some years, and still part of that Illawarra crew that keep churning cars out. I like the rabbit trap in the back with a $2 coin on it. That's the clever stuff I'm talking about. I've been following this little build at Pro Street Restorations. Old beach ball up there, so he's been at it a while. Got a whole lot of projects in the build up there. Been around a long time and travels all around the world doing car shows and putting photos up on his page. Sure, I read on his page that this one's fully, will have full rego on it. Some ideas and fit and finish and detail on this car. It's a very impressive car, and I included it in the hot rod show when we were up there, and obviously Paul seen it there and thought, well, I need to have that down at Illawarra. It sits good, it's got them massive wheels under it. Really good use of the greys and blacks and polish in the engine bay. Really hard to capture on the camera, but it just, yeah, it looks good there too. So it just has that nice feel about it. A bit of matte and the gloss, the polish and the black. Right next door. So out of the same stable, obviously. This engine bay, very nice. I love that trumpet style injection on that. That looks super. Very flat boxed out engine bay, and of course all the Eleanor external appearance. Got plenty of brakes, plenty of wheels. Yeah, so a build like that would have had the wallet working pretty hard. That's a lot of car. That red stitching looks pretty good, doesn't it? I like that. Now back to another Monaro. So this is a bit more along the classic lines. Probably a bit more favourable for me with the wheel combinations compared to what they're all doing nowadays, but I just like the feel of it. It's very traditional pro street. Pretty hard to beat red and black, isn't it? Now this is a new up and comer. So this was an unveiled car at the Hot Rod Show, and I did have a talk to Adrian about the car because I had to talk to him at the Hot Rod Show, and clearly the car has come a long way since then. They were, you know, like we all are, always rushed to get it ready for the Hot Rod Show, and it was definitely another step up in presentation and the finish, you know, all those little detail things that I'm looking at as a show car guy. And fittingly it won the best car of the show. It's in the top 3, obviously being the best car, and then 6 or 8 other trophies to go with it. By memory, I think body was runner-up, body, trim, one top paint, whole heap of things. Lots of hours to build, and then a lot more hours to actually maintain it at that level now. So that'll be definitely at Summer Nats at the end of the year. Very striking car. So that Tirana and this Camaro have both come out of Exclusive Customs up at Gold Coast. So Exclusive used to be in Sydney, then they moved down to Engadine, and the whole family have now moved up to the Gold Coast, and they operate out of the Gold Coast now. And they did a Camaro for this same customer when they were down here, and then they've done this one as well. And all I can say is to actually do a standard engine bay like that is very difficult, and I understand that from when we did Cobra 400. To get that appearance and maintain it is very difficult. It's actually a lot harder than doing a whole lot of new stuff with polished billet, because you're working with CAD and matte finishes and standard components, and this car is just a really good example of how to do it properly. And of course it's a fairly rare car as well, being a 302 with the dual 4 barrels on it, and then red on red. Yeah, you couldn't have a show without a rotary or two. Definitely stands out in that colour. This little Cortina is something different. So I've always liked this 440 style Cortina with the GT stripes, and this looks good in the colour. But the interesting part with this one, it's got a rotary in it. So I had the opportunity to have a bit of a look at it. Was over at Phil's. He was doing some work on it over there. I know they were doing some tidy ups just to get it on the dyno and running a bit cleaner and sweeter. So rotary with Simmons. So we had a few bikes there, which is good to see. Really like the paint on this. Another nice clean Camaro. It must have been a great time to be alive to have be buying a new car as a 20-year-old at 67, 8, 9. And the Camaros, Mustangs, Novas, all those sorts of cars. Incredible era. And of course in Australia we had our Monaros and our Falcons and our GTs. And these two cars on this stand had obviously been built for some time. Just the styling and the finish, and you can sort of tell how old they've been done and kept really nice. It's interesting to see this Falcon. I'm not sure if it was a GT or not, but with the gauges up on the bonnet, was something that was getting done late 80s, early 90s. And of course the wheel combination. It's a really nice colour for a GT. So this is Paul's car, and obviously on the trophies and all. Paul's had some nice Chevs over the years. I said to him, "Did you bring it in, Paul?" He said, no, I got it off a guy up, I think he said Newcastle, I think. But obviously left-hand drive. The big block in it. Nice cruiser. And then the trophies were all made down here in the Illawarra as well. Miss Piggy Customs made up all the trophies. Classic hot rod. Now this is another local car. So we did a video at the Big K Kebab, which is on the channel, and this car pulled into the cruise night. Had a good chat to him, and he went over and told us all about the car. So if you want to know what's in that engine bay, that's on that other show. So it's dry sumped. Man, this thing's just got everything going on. Not even going to try and start to go through everything that's happening with it, but really well maintained. I spent a lot of time on the polishing rag. There's a lot of effort in getting all that to work, I can tell you. Custom dash, all the billet bits. Dry sump tanks. Ticks all the boxes, that's for sure. So I had a couple of traders there. I mean, back in the 90s when we were here, there was a lot more traders, but there was a lot less internet then as well. So I think it's a bit hard for people to justify having a trade stand and taking it all out when they can put it all online and have the orders come in. So there's a nice row of bikes here, and I'm guessing that it was from the people that did the airbrushing, because there's some really cool airbrush work on these bikes. I'll try and capture some of that. Nice marbling work here, looks really cool. So many hours to go through the process of all the layers to get this to work, and then block it all back and polish it. I know they're only small tanks, but it's a lot of work. Really well done. So as you can tell, what it looks like a little show, there's plenty to see, and it's really good to see Paul getting back on track. after COVID and being able to put the show back on again. Louis Vuitton. Trying to get in there without knocking a bike over. Get myself into trouble. So we're just about getting to the end of it now, so thanks for following. We'll be coming to you each month with a show from somewhere in Australia, and I'll be trying to select those to give you something different each time. And don't forget, if you like what you're watching, subscribe, make some comments, click the like button, do all those different things that help us to make the channel work for you and for me. And I hope you've enjoyed what we've seen from the Illawarra from Killer Rides. So until next time, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.